Well, welcome to
Just
another episode Out of the Blank podcast, Mo.
all right. Thank you.
Mo, tell me a little bit about yourself, and if you want, what do you do professionally?
Yeah. Well, I am a cook or a chef. We have a catering company and a food truck and a cart as well. So that's what we do every day. The saying in the commissary is we prep food, cook food, and sell food.
And how exactly would you say the name of your business?
The Byzantine Empire.
The Byzantine Empire. Now,
Yeah.
when I
Byzantine
hear
Empire. Yes.
when I hear that, I think of ancient history. I think it's called there's another empire called the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah. It is the Byzantine Empire. Is what it is. It originated in Byzantine Greece. I'm originally from Albania, so and Byzantine Greece is like a couple of hours away from my city where I live in, and so that's actually how the business name actually started. I've been cooking since I was 14 years old, so in my city, there's these still, especially I want to say maybe like a half hour from my city. There's 48 churches from the Byzantine Empire. Now, the Byzantine Empire was years and years and years ago, and these churches still look magnificent, like beautiful. So, I was always fascinated with those, and that's how the name for the business came to, like the Byzantine Empire. And we mix it with a little bit of Latin infusion too. My wife is Colombian, so we say it's Mediterranean with a little bit of Latin infusion.
Kind of a little bit different to the area too. I mean, it's not really popular down here. A lot of Greece food is not really seen. At least I live in a beach town. There's not really any Greece restaurants. I remember in school, when I was like in middle school, we had a Greece day or a Greek day where people would make their own like fusions of Greek food and bring it to school. And so that's a bunch of kids, probably 13, 14 years old, trying to make Greek food, and the whole hallway just smelled god awful. The food looked delicious, to be honest with you, but I've never really truly enjoyed any of the cuisine. Like, what exactly type of cuisine are you serving?
Well, it's funny you asked that because it's just simple Mediterranean food. So, like I said, I'm from Albania, right? And I feel like that's the forgotten country in the Mediterraneans. Everybody knows Italian food. Greek food is also popular, but so what we sell is a mixture of that, like basically what I grew up eating, like the other day we called it a chicken gyro salad. So it had basically sliced cucumbers, tomatoes, red onions, lettuce, a tzatziki sauce, which is yogurt with some dill, garlic, olive oil, some diced cucumbers in there. So it's basically just summer salad, like summer food, like fresh food. That's what Mediterranean or Greek food is, but there's more to it than just that. It's not just, what I just mentioned. So we have a different variety of stuff that we do.
How did you exactly come to the idea of even owning a food truck and doing like a catering business out of anything you could have done? You said you're a chef. I mean, I get
Yeah.
I get the aspect of like working in a kitchen kind of gets really like I give you guys so much credit for doing that, mostly because it's hot as shit. I don't think I could ever do it. The amount of overwhelming pressure that can go on a chef's head when they have to run orders. And next thing you know, you get a giant rush and you have people on top of you. Because cooking's meant to be intimate, man. You're meant to have your own personal space. I know when I'm in the kitchen making like lunch or dinner or something, if anybody's in my way, I'm reaching for a knife. Like, you're about to lose a hand right now if you don't move out of the way.
Well, it's funny you said that. That's the problem with today. Like you're mentioning exactly there's no more like actual cooking. Like, I don't know if you remember, like growing up, you wake up and you see your mother's in the kitchen and she's cooking. Like, that was cooking. What we do now is more like put together. So like we cook at the commissary or even restaurants, your favorite restaurant you go out to, they cook stuff throughout the day. And so when you go to the restaurant, they're just throwing it together, so, and cooking, it is meant to be intimate, you know, like that's one of the greatest things, you know, to do for yourself, because you know what you're eating, you know what you're putting into, you know, cooking at home or eating, you know, what you cook. Um, but you gotta love it to overlook all of the stress that you just mentioned, you know, all of the, and you're right, it's nuts when that rush hits is real. Bobby always said, you know, Farmstead always says, you know, like that rush is real.
I know, yeah, because we met through Bobby from, you know, he's great, you know, amazing, just wonderful person when it comes to giving advice and, you know, just being able to talk to too, but being real about a lot of the things too, because like he kind of enlightened me a little bit more about the cooking industry. I mean, the amount of pressure you guys face, and we're seeing it now too, like even with the pandemic situation, like there are businesses we're about to probably experience our second lockdown, and I don't want to harp too much on it, but our businesses are literally telling people, if you're a coronavirus snitch, like the ones that are going to sit there and complain about 6 foot and all this stuff, because
Yeah,
we live in a beach town, man. So Ocean City has water on one side and water on the other. So all the businesses are very compact. Like it's not a place you want to sit in and go and eat. Most restaurants are like you order and then you eat outside or something. So
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
stove and a person isn't at a 6 foot distance. And then from the person to the counter where the people are isn't 6 feet either. So they're complaining and trying to get places shut down, where businesses are just like, we don't want to stay open. We're not going to do it for you guys if this is what's going to happen. But when we say cooking is an intimate experience, we lost that, man. The whole factor of when you used to come home and you used to smell something cooking, you used to watch
Hmm.
watch somebody put something together, and
Yeah,
now it's like, oh, we're going to Uber eat tonight, we're going to do this tonight. It's like
yeah,
half the experiences in the food. I'm pretty sure the reason you probably got started in cooking at such a young age was because you watched your grandmother, your mother, you watched somebody in the
exactly
kitchen
right.
cranking out those meals, and you're like, teach me how to make this amazing food. Or they grabbed you and were like, hey, you got to learn this skill because you're going to need this in life.
Well, for me, it started like, so we came to. I'm from, like I said, I'm originally from Albania. So when we came to the United States, it was like, I want to say 2 weeks from September 11, 2001.
Oh shit, dude, that's a big
So
thing right there.
yeah, so like imagine a complete culture shock of like transplanting from one place to another, and then a huge event like that happens. Like a tragedy like that happens, and it was crazy. It was nuts. But so we came here, and I started working. I think I got my working papers when I was 14, and started like uh, busting tables at a diner, because of, like you mentioned, my mom, my grandma, everybody in the family always cooking. I was always gravitating towards the kitchen. So one day, the manager, she was just like, "Listen, why don't you just hop in that line behind there and see what you can do?" And I started cooking at a diner, and then just moved my way up. Since I was, so I wouldn't say since I was maybe like 16, I've been in the kitchen, but I've been really, in restaurants since I was 14. So, you know, that's how I started, and just moved on up until about a couple of years ago. I used to own a bar at 22nd and Market in Philly, and so I sold that, and I moved back to my home country, and we opened up a bar and restaurant there, me and my wife. But the only way I could explain it to people, man, like, and we can get into the best country in the world, like, I would say, if you had a choice of a flat screen TV brand new that just came out today, or one of like 1990s TV with no sound, you have to hit it on, you would choose the flat screen, of course. So we came back to United States, and we had the itch of just having our own business, and then we ended up buying a food truck. But we can
Honestly,
get into that later. America, bro, is the best country in the world, hands down. It's messed up. It's got a
yeah.
lot of faults. Don't get me
Look,
wrong, but
I'm
no,
not talking trash on America at all, trust me. But I think when it comes to other countries, I can see why a lot of people are very, very like want to travel and stuff, is because there's just something that got lost with all the corporate and all the, the technology and stuff. family dinners don't happen as much as they used to. Just being around your friends and family really is turned into this false communication with devices, and really sucks because if you look at like for instance, you ever see the movie Don't Mess with the Zohan?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Okay,
one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies.
that movie, so is it. It's mine too, but that movie could not be played today. But the reason why is all the racial stuff that they're talking about, and the idea
True. Yeah.
it was supposed to come out around the time 9/11, like 9/11 happened. So they had actually postponed it because of all the Israeli and all the terroristic jokes that are in there. But you realize this movie couldn't be played today because of how much of a cancel culture we have. And I'm like, those were
Yeah.
more simple times, and that movie came out in 2008. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but that was 12 years ago. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh wow, that
the
is 12 years ago.
the world was so like Dave Matthews played a racist redneck that wanted to blow up puppies. Like nobody even paid attention to that, but
But
it was
it's comedy. People need to
yes,
realize that it's comedy. Like comedians have always made like. Listen, we have a saying in my culture, right, in my country, that the joke is half of the truth, right?
yeah.
So comedians actually put light into these situations that we're dealing with now, but they still made a little bit of a joke about it. Like you got to be able to laugh. Like you can't take everything serious in this like cancel this now culture. You got to be able to really watch what you say because people will really just flip out for no reason.
It's there was I think it's because there were so many extremes, and then we just thought everything was an extreme, and then we just started taking out. But I used to work at a surf shop in this mall called Gold Coast Mall. Small little rundown mall. You wouldn't even know if it was a mall if there wasn't a giant sign saying it was. Literally, we barely got anybody into that store. I would get a customer a day that would walk in. I would sit there on this computer in this surf shop and play balloon tower defense all freaking day. But right across the way, like on the other side of the mall, was an Italian joint, and it was run by a few people that are from Albania.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they were doing this
There's a
cuisine,
lot
making
of those restaurants.
they were making subs, they were making all this stuff. And the guy would just come over and just talk to me and chat because he didn't have any customers. They would literally sit there, basically make food for themselves and eat it. And he was like, "Hey man, you want a sub?" And I'm so used to like, this is where I'm in the health game. I'm making my own cans of tuna. I'm putting down on a tuna salad. I'm making all these things, all prepped meals because I'm a fitness freak. Then he comes over with a giant meatball sub and he's like, "You want to try this?" And I'm like, I appreciate it. I'm like, yeah, but I was like, gonna put it down. I wasn't actually gonna eat it. But then he like sat there and watched me, and I'm like, well, now I gotta eat it. So then I bit into it, and I was like, holy, it's like a blast from the past. I was like, I was a kid again, enjoying life, and I was like, because heart was put into it, man. And it's like,
Yeah.
it sucks because that business ended up closing down because obviously they couldn't get the traffic pool of people. But I'm like, it sucks that a place like this is getting shut down compared to a place like McDonald's that's cranking out burgers left and right. There's no heart when you bite into something like that. There's nothing anymore.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, man. McDonald's and it's funny because we were just talking the other day. Yesterday, I'm in the kitchen prepping some chicken, and somebody comes up and says, "Oh, have you noticed how the chicken breasts have changed? They're putting whatever they're feeding them with or whatever they inject them with." I'm like, I watched a docu series that was talking about how big corporations like McDonald's or Burger King, they changed the game in the food industry forever because now whoever's producing whatever they're producing, lettuce, tomatoes, chicken, or whatever, or meat, they're producing for and to meet demands for somebody like a big corporation like them that's ordering, millions and millions of pounds of chicken a day. So that trickles down to everybody else, and that's the same product that we're getting. So although you're saying, "Oh, I'm not eating from McDonald's because uh, I don't want that quality," you're really getting the same quality at your local supermarket. Because whoever's, for example, Purdue that produces chicken is not going to produce for me and you who are watching our health. Well, I mean, I'm not really watching, but that's why it's important to support local farms and where you're getting your food, to buy local for sure. The industry has changed, especially now with the pandemic, forever. It's not the same anymore. It's just
What have you
not.
experienced change wise with the pandemic? Because you know what's weird is we're talking about cancel culture with like people, you know, yelling and tattletaling on businesses for not following regulations. They don't do that to McDonald's. McDonald's is in fault of all those violations 24/7, but nobody wants to call and get one closed down. And I'm like,
Well,
is that just because you want to hurt the little guy? Like, I don't get what you're getting out of that.
yeah, we've had that. Like it's and I'm unapologetically. Wow, sorry, that was a big word to get out. I'm going to plug in Farmstead and Bobby as much as I possibly can in this video. But me and Bobby, we always talk about stuff like that where we don't understand either, because a McDonald's can operate at such high volume efficiently, or a Walmart, but a small restaurant or a business can't do it. Like, that just doesn't make sense, like. But for us, to answer your question, we have to pivot and change, business models constantly. We just recently they had the new rules where bars absolutely cannot serve alcohol if a meal, or if not a meal, on that ticket. So, for us, we're a food truck that goes to a lot of breweries or events where alcohol is there. So for us to sort of have to flawlessly have to work with the brewery to get that meal in that ticket, from them, is something that we had to like adapt to. We didn't do it like that. Usually people go get their drink and then come to the, truck and order their food. But now it has to be done simultaneously at the same time, so that's one of the things we've experienced, that we had to pivot and change, like find a way how to make it happen. It's frustrating. Like you said earlier, people are complaining about the small restaurants, but they're not complaining about that giant food chain that is possibly, I'm not saying that they are, because I'm sure they're following the guidelines too, but it's possibly at such high volume breaking, some of the rules and regulations. Not at any point can, the workers we're talking about, because they're doing drive-throughs, but the workers are not 6 feet apart. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. So, and they can't be, because they constantly have to work. If you ever worked in a kitchen or been to a restaurant where you see the staff frantically running around, they can't be 6 feet apart,
When you like, amongst everything that's kind of changed a little bit too, like, have you thought about anything different to do with
Oh,
the
yeah.
truck a little bit? Like, have you thought about maybe delivering some stuff yourself? I know you're catering and stuff, but like,
Yeah. We do for sure. So when the pandemic hit, we were just thinking like, well, what's going to happen? It was like a good 2 weeks where we were like literally trying to figure out what we're going to do. So, I just went back in the kitchen and we just started making fresh pasta, like that's one of the things we do now. It's not that we didn't want to do it before, but now the pandemic allowed us to do it, because we needed a food, like a staple that we can deliver, and you could cook it at home, or maybe we could deliver it hot to you. And so we do that now. We go to farmers markets, or we hit up apartment buildings, and we have fresh pasta, and people could and the sauce as well, but they could either order it and cook it at home, or they can order it from the truck and we'll cook it for them. That was one of the things we had to do, like figure
yeah.
out
Alex was talking about making
yeah.
like a design your own taco kit at home, being able to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
your own
yeah, yeah.
burrito. And I'm like, this might actually be a good thing when it comes to ushering back people actually making meals with their family and enjoying that time together.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things. It's funny, like you're just bringing out points that we always have conversations in the kitchen where, I guess that's one of the good things that people started, cooking at home. It's weird because people went through, at least what we saw, people went through a phase of, that's why the dinner kits were like I don't want to say a fad, but like it was a trend for a minute. People went, all right, quarantine, this is awesome, we're going to cook at home, we're going to spend family time. And then after like 2 or 3 weeks, you saw it, they were like, all right, we're done with this cooking, let's order from these, now food trucks or catering companies that are doing home deliveries. There's people that never thought about doing door-to-door deliveries because they're doing weddings with like 100 people or up, but they had to switch to dinner kits, you know, to like accommodate a family of 3 or 4, or, you know, maybe somebody that has a duplex in the city that just doesn't cook because he's so busy, and then ordering for the whole week. You know what I mean? So it's
complicated, is what it is.
it's exactly what it is, and it's different. It's just different.
I think, you know, we talk about catering events. Have you had any weird catering experiences? Like, I mean, we used to like, when I used to work at a hotel, we'd have to set up things for like a bachelorette party. But the next day, like when they're leaving, there would be nothing but dick balloons, dick cutout stickers, everything. I mean, penises galore, my friend. Like, it was.
I guess people don't grow up, huh?
Trust me. Look, I opened up one of their fridges, and I had seen what they had done is they, in the freezer, in the little mini fridge, they had put penis Jello shot things together. So they're like, I'm like, do you want to get fucked up or do you want to get fucked? That's the whole thing. But it was like, you put out some crazy stuff. You've had to have a crazy catering experience.
Oh man, honestly, it's just so many because I've been in this business for so long. You know, like it's been a lot. You know, it's been some funny, some messed up, but you see it all. You see it all. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like you see messed up stuff where people get so messed up that they brought clippers from home and like shaving somebody's head, or, you know, putting lines, or, you know, like I've seen a lot, you know what I mean? So there's just so many different ones. And especially after alcohol is involved, it's fair game. It's fair game.
Do you prefer owning the food truck over maybe trying to start up like a brick and mortar? I feel like the food truck is just the prime spot because you can move to any location. I see the only downside being you got to know whose turf you're on, because surprisingly, when it owns in the food truck business, there's a lot of people like, hey, you're on my corner. And it's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to roll down here. No, you're still selling to my customers. It's like the people are going to buy what they want to
Well,
buy.
no, you're not going to go down there. So it's funny you said that. When we first started, we knew that, you know, we wanted to focus on catering because it's just a better business model, you know. But that's not, you know, when you first start. So we started going on the streets, and there's there's areas where it's first come first serve. You show up, you're there, you get a parking spot, and you start vending. Or there's areas where you have to have a permit in that area. So we started with the first come first serve areas, and people were doing that. You know, like, hey, this is my corner, you got to go. And you just got to be like, no, I'm not. You know, like you started in this corner one day, just like I'm doing it. You know, so. You don't want to be confrontational, of course, but you also don't want to be like, yeah, sure, I'm moving along because you told me to move along, you know? So it is difficult. We do want to we did, right now though, during COVID, especially because it's still happening, our food truck is like a better business model. We don't have the overhead. We can change locations at any time we want, you know, it's just, right now it's way better business model than a brick and mortar, but we were towards that. We were working towards that. We were, you know, close to getting a storefront, and then COVID had different ideas. But I think, you know, again, we just have to pivot with that, see where it takes us. Hopefully this whole nonsense is over, and, you know, we've developed a vaccine, I guess, or, you know, not to say that I would actually take the vaccine, to be honest. I just believe that
It's
our
I'm
immune
Legend. You got to
system.
wait. You better wait 6 months until I want to see that first wave of people take it and see what happens after that. Because
See,
I Am Legend was the whole point. Cure for cancer. People got it, and they turned into these zombies that are afraid of the light. So I'm like, I'm gonna be with Will Smith and not get it until later.
yeah, right. No, dude. It's scary, man. You know, what what is that vaccine gonna? What is the effect? What are they gonna do? You know, with it? So
I
it's
know.
just weird.
I know with talking with Bobby back and forth, I think we can both agree he's a bit of a anti-government when it comes to some things. But
Yeah.
me and him always go down like, because I started noticing some things. I was like, why is nobody accepting cash anymore? Why is places always doing card? And it's like to have your information. It's like you start looking at things like COVID was like a giant test of power. People told you to stay inside your homes, and this is where I had a problem with it. I get for the safety aspect of things, but I knew so many people that took their own lives because they lost their lifelong business. And it's like I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
anybody but really realizes, besides the people like you that are involved in it yourself, is all these businesses, some of them, they need the profits of that day to make it to the next day or some, and
Yeah.
nobody really paid attention to that. And that's why I'm so supportive of buying locally and everything, like supporting a local business. People talk about it, but they don't actually do it. Next thing I know, I see them at Chipotle. I'm supporting Chipotle. You're supporting fucking McDonald's. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
right. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Not to sound like a conspiracy theory, type of, but it's exactly what it looks like. They're pushing so hard for a cashless society. To be honest, like cash. We always say in this business, cash is king. Like I would rather have cash in my hand than a credit card processor. But that's another thing that we are forced to, not necessarily by anybody, but just by the virus, because the virus is real. It
Yeah.
exists. It's out there, and so we want to protect ourselves and our customers as well. So we'll we have invested in POS systems, and where you could just order online and it could be completely contactless. We still get people that walk up to the window and say, hey, I want to order here. They'll wear their mask, they'll order their food, and they'll step back and wait for it. But it's gearing up, or it looks like it's going towards like a cashless society, basically. People come up and say, or even when I go to the store the other day, we went to food, when we go food shopping for the business, they did not have change, singles. Forget about like coin, but they didn't have singles. They're like, we're still waiting on the truck to come. And even at the bank, go to the bank and they're like, yeah, we're waiting for our change to come. So like you know could it be because coronavirus affected their industry as well and they're not producing enough? Or could it be because somebody says, hey, I want a cashless society? uh Maybe what's his name wants to get us all chipped, who knows?
Yeah.
um
Literally, what I just thought of was the one thing about masks that's really got to suck is the fact that how are you supposed to see somebody's face light up when they try one of your food items if you can't see their smile or anything? If they have to pull their
bro,
mask
how are
up
they
while
going to
they're
try their food if they have the mask on?
yeah, well, I've been out and I've seen people like yet they pull it down and they put it right back up while they're chewing and everything. And I'm like, you're more worried about not dying than not, enjoying the experience. Nobody's really chatting. It's all like, am I doing the rules right? Am I doing the rules
Yeah,
right?
but that's the thing. People are doing that just to see if they're following the rules. Technically, the masks that you see people wearing, like those cheap cloth masks, they don't work. They're preventing to an extent, or like to but they're not really working. Have you seen the the stuff that these virologists or whatever they're called, in the industry, they're working with these viruses? Have you seen what they wear?
Yeah.
Do you think your little mask is going to protect you? But again, we're forced from the virus and whoever enforced these rules to follow these rules. And it's like,
It's
but it doesn't make sense,
it's my theory is it's splitting up people. It's just a spark on a giant fire that's going to keep us even more separated, because when the people come together, we're very powerful, but we never come together unless it's like a 9/11 incident or it's something severely tragic. And what I saw weird in the other day was I was in Marshall's and I had walked in. You need a mask to walk in anywhere, but then as I was standing in line, a dude behind me had his completely off and in his pocket. And I just like looked at him and I was like, why do I feel the need to correct this guy? And I started realizing that the reason why people do that and you get this like urge to do something because now we're all normalized to it is it's a sense. Yeah.
Conditioning you to think this is the normalcy now. Like this
But
is normal. The mask on.
the aggression comes from the fact that it's somebody not following the rules. And you're like, if I have to follow the rules, then why does this guy get a free pass? And then I asked the woman, I was like, why? So are we just not allowed to wear a mask in here? Like, can we just take them off if we want? And she goes, we can't tell you to put it on. And I'm like, so I reached for my own mask and I was going to pull it down. And I was like, that means I could just take it off right now. I don't have to have this stupid thing causing acne all over my face. I was like, I don't have to have this thing on. And she just looked at me. She goes, once you're in the store, we can't say anything. I'm like, so what is the rules now? What are we just going to start making up stuff? Is it going to be like a service dog? I have a medical condition. This is why I have a 400-pound Newfoundland or something. It's like, that's bullshit, you know?
Yeah. No, we've had, man, we do get, because we're all prepping in the kitchen. So especially me and Bobby, we get to talking and it's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, it's just common sense, you know what I mean? So let me tell you a little bit about, Temple, right? So we do a lot of frontline workers meals, right? So on our website, shout out to Alex from Paper Mill because he actually encouraged us to do it even more. We started out with some nurses in Allentown, and then we went to Temple because my mom works at Temple on the COVID floor, right? And so when the PPE was going around and Temple was getting them ready for the whole COVID when the pandemic hit, one of the major things that their union did not want to negotiate was the proper PPE. Like not these masks that everybody is wearing, like the N95s are better ones that they wear. So it goes back to where we're wearing these masks, but they don't really work properly. Like you don't ask the frontline workers to wear these type of masks that we're asked to wear. So why are you asking us? Like I would understand if they say, okay, this is the guideline, this is the law, you have to wear this type of mask, which then you get into, all right, well, who's profiting from making that mask or why are they pushing that mask? But still, if you said you need the proper equipment, then I could understand. But if you're telling me I have to wear this mask, but you don't know how hot, like I have to get my head in a 400-degree oven, I'm reaching in there. You think this mask is helping me? Like I can barely breathe as it is,
And then you have to be worried when you take it off for a second to actually get some air after like doing a stressful like run of like a lunch hour or something. You walk outside, like take your mask off real quick to kind of take a breath in. Then you have to worry about somebody looking over, seeing that, and then trying to correct you for, hey, you need your mask on. It's like, well, shit, did you just know I stuck my head in a 400-degree oven and it's hot as shit outside? I would like to actually breathe because, like, for instance, my mask, I work at a gym, so we have to make this shake called the peanut butter slammer, which involves peanut butter.
Okay.
That's good on, you can have peanut butter maybe once a day or, maybe once every other day. But then if you're making like 10 of those shakes a day, your fucking hands, you smell like peanut butter 24/7. So I'm sick of it. And I got it in my mask. So while I'm breathing, I'm inhaling peanut butter the whole time to the point where if anybody cracks out Jif or whatever the hell, they're getting punched in the face. It's just an aspect of like, it's not really doing anything. Honestly, I feel like you're going to make yourself a little bit sicker, but it's a comfortability factor. And I'm like, man, I just don't. Bars tried to reopen and then a lot of them shut back down because the regulations were just too stressful. And I'm like, I don't ever want to see the small businesses like yourself. And I'm not calling your business small. I'm just saying like the mom and pop shops.
Believe me, compared to the billionaires out there, our businesses are fairly small. So
well, I like walking into a place and then feeling like I could easily ask to talk to the owner. Not that I would ever want to, if anything, to get maybe a story, but I want to feel like, oh, they're actually paying attention to me. Because if anybody has ever worked corporate out there, I've worked for Walmart a long time ago, and they didn't give a shit. I was a number. It's not a personal thing. I like working for people that are like, how's it going, Robbie? Hey, your birthday's coming up. Thanks, man. You know, just that. I love having
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
somebody knowing me. And when you walk into a corporate building, you're just there to get your stuff and go on about your day. Well, I get that because you might be busy, but it's so much better to sit and actually experience not only your food, but the place that you're eating at.
Yeah, yeah. We tell all of our at any point, like not just whoever's working with us now. I mean, always, you got to be happy where you work at. Like, so if you're not happy here, don't just force it coming here. Like if you're not happy working at a Walmart, then don't work at a Walmart. Like there's plenty other places you could look for a job. You got to be. If you think about it, you spend how many years and how many hours working of your life. You're doing 30, 40, sometimes 50 years working in your lifespan. You want to be happy during those years. That's half of your lifetime. For if you're lucky to make it to 100, that's half of your lifetime. So you're working all of these years. Find something that you enjoy doing. Like when we first started this conversation about the stress of the businesses, it's stressful, but we like doing this. So that's why we do it. It's the same thing with everybody else. You gotta find what you like and what you do.
What made you want to take that leap of faith that everybody's kind of afraid to take to start up a business? What made you really push for it? When did that moment hit you?
Uh, Honestly, I mentioned that I had a bar in Philly and sold it and moved to my home country. But before I bought that bar, I used to work there, and then I was also at the chef at another place. So simultaneously, the bar shut down. So the owner of that bar ended up selling it to us, but he put it up for sale, and so I started talking to a buddy of mine, like, let's look into it. And that's, I guess, when I first, got that, you know, first itch, I would call it, to like have my own business, like it was, I didn't really think about it as the big step at that time. I was 23 at that time. So I didn't really look at it as like a huge leap, like as you put it. But, more of a, hey, we're going to buy a bar. Why not? Let's do it, So we ended up buying that. And I think after 5-6 years, I sold my share and moved away. But that was always the starting point of this like fire, like this itch that, I wanted to have my own business. I didn't, I went through my whole, even throughout college, I was working in kitchens. So, I went through the whole, like, I want to own my own business, right after college. So I was like, I have to get back to, what I want to do. I love cooking, but I want to own my own business. And that's how it started, really.
What if I asked you like a memorable experience of why you even got into it in the first place? It could be from when you're a child and you saw a certain thing with your family, maybe somebody you learned from. What would that be?
I could tell you the day before so when we bought the bar, we had to put a down payment first, to get the keys, and then the second payment once the title transferred. But the day before, or I think it was 2 days before we got the keys, I was talking to my grandma. She was a chef throughout her whole life, but I asked her, I said, hey, what do you think? We're buying this bar, me and a friend of mine. She said, you know what? That's an awesome idea. I was like, okay, I didn't expect that. I was thinking, I was expecting something like a grandma would say, like, oh, make sure you got you dot your I's and cross
Wear
your
a
T's,
sweater. Wear a sweater.
But she was like, that's an awesome idea. She was like, um, there always will be the need for people to eat, the food might change, how astronauts bring vitamins or, supplements. Like the food might always change with the need for, humans to
Eat.
fuel ourselves, eat, will always be there. And so that'll always stick with me for the rest of my life, because that's basically what was the, confirming it, like, all right, this is what I really want to do, like that's that memory you just basically had me recollect.
Have you ever had do you set milestones for your business too? Like from where you first started to where you're at now? Do you have any like moments with, because I'll give you an example. Me and my dad was used to DJ all the time. So I was, his son, young, 14, 15 years old. I'd be carrying his equipment 24/7 to every single gig. That was just like the workhorse when it came to that.
Yeah, free labor right there.
Right there. That's why you have kids, is so they can pay you back that way. And when I was helping him set up at this bar that was actually owned by his friend that was just starting out, they had just signed the deed, and he wanted us to christen in the place. And we asked him how like that could be possible. And literally, he just made us some mozzarella sticks, some nachos, and we were the very first people before the sign was even up outside to eat inside of that bar and to actually enjoy the whole place and look at this dude's vision that had came to life. And I was like, this is a freaking crazy moment. He ended up selling that business, but the same aspect was, it's something I'd always remember. Like, you look at all these places that you go into 24/7s when it comes to bars, restaurants, you're like, I wonder the person who started this up with just an idea, if they sat in there that first night and just before they even opened officially to the public and just fucking took it all in.
Yeah. No, yeah, there's plenty of moments like that. I think, especially for us, for me, I always think to myself that I don't let it get over my head, but there's moments where I'm looking at the truck or the cart, because we got two vessels. So I'm looking at them from far and I'm like, wow, like, yes, we have come far. I guess the cart would be a milestone, as you put it. Our goal was, to have the brick and mortar, to have our own restaurant. Again, COVID had different ideas, but throughout, when we first started, we ended up buying a cart, not like maybe 7 months after, because of the demand. But I guess that's a milestone that I always look back and go, wow, like the business grew quite, faster than what we thought, because we have set a timeline of, after the third year, we want to be able to, buy our own brick and mortar and, operate out of that. So, so far we're doing pretty good. We're heading towards the right direction, but that's our first, I guess, memory or milestone that would be the cart.
If I was going to ask, what's the worst experience you've ever had doing the food truck? It can be a customer. Bobby was honest with it.
Oh God, the worst experience.
I feel like with a food truck has to be with just the maintenance of the truck, like breaking down somewhere.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. When we first started, we started on the streets, but then we were like relentless, like finding events and looking up, really honestly just Googling events, or like throughout Facebook, finding like events that people post and see if they needed a food truck or whatnot. We ended up finding this like dance company. They were doing this huge event, and they needed like 4 trucks out there. So we show up, we're all lined up, and I turn my gas on, and I'm like, it smells like gas, but like a lot, like not just a little bit from the pilot, like a lot. So I go outside and I look at my pipe and it's broken. I'm like, oh, so what am I going to do now? I ended up fixing it. I ended up like, for the moment, like bypassed it and did like a shortcut. So we ran throughout the event, which ended up being one of the better events we've done so far, let alone, then. But that was one of the moments where I freaked out for a moment, like, okay, what am I doing? Like,
holy
I have
crap,
gas,
you almost brought fireworks to the freaking show, man. I can picture it now. You're like passed out at the front wheel. What's wrong with Mo? He's had a long day. It's like, we just started 5 minutes ago.
That was a crazy, it was a crazy time. I just ended up bypassing it right away. I guess that would be it. But then you deal with customers all the time. You know, we deal with so many people that you see everybody. You know, you see the nice person, you see the person that understands, and you see the person that doesn't understand. You know, it's just, you just have to know that and just not let it, you know, affect you. You know.
If I gave you the choice of going back before you started the food truck and just saying, you know, giving you a different option or a different avenue, what if there was a different avenue, what would it be? Like, would you prefer
Before
brick and
the food
mortar?
truck, before the food truck, it's funny. I would, but um, not now. Like I said, now the food truck is so much a better business model, uh, especially now during COVID. You know, we don't, like I said, we don't have the overhead. We don't have to worry about seating people, and they make sure that they're, you know, properly taken care of, and you have tables to sanitize. And we are simply, you know, we try our best to enforce the mask on rule. We try our best to even put markings down. Like, you know, I've seen people do it, and we do it too. Put cones at like bigger events, you know, to mark the 6 feet. And people usually you follow it. You get the, you know, other ones that don't. But right now, I would say, to the brick and mortar, like, not yet. You know, different avenue, completely off of food, or it could
If you
be
want to
food
go off
related.
food, if you want to go off food, you can.
I've always, so I went to school for like criminal justice and pre-law. So I would
Okay.
say, uh, probably somewhere in that field, you know, like maybe a police officer, you know, I would say lawyer too, but that's just so common. Like, everybody wanted to be a lawyer, and there's just so many lawyers out there that, you know,
Well,
I would say something like,
you strike me as a guy that would stand up for the little man, which is what I kind of appreciate and kind of can feel out about you. It's why I like Bobby so much. It's all about supporting
yeah,
like the small people, or supporting people that really just need someone that, you know, give them that support, you know.
yeah.
Um I thought you were gonna toss out tap dancer. I was about to be like, no freaking way.
No, I'm a big guy, man. I don't think, although I've seen big guys move, you know, I don't
Light
think
on their feet,
I
man.
could
Light
tap
on their
dance,
feet.
you know. So no, tap dancing. Wow.
But seriously though, like I really appreciate you coming out and doing the podcast, man. But honestly, you and Bobby, like Bobby hooked this up. Shout out to him for doing this. But like, you guys are doing something that is extremely difficult. Same thing with Alex. I'm sure you guys are involved in your own little group chat where you guys message back and forth and stuff, because you guys have to. Because honestly, when it comes to this food truck thing, you want support in the system of it, and you don't want it to turn into so many corporations and so much of competition that most businesses end up going into is all about, I want to get their customers. I want to get their customers. The best part about you guys is support each other and share each other's stuff. You'll find different ways. I put Bobby's face on an avocado. Like, I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
it's about having fun, meeting people, learning about life. And I think the best part about a food truck that's better than a brick and mortar is you can change the scenery if you want. I mean,
Yeah, that's the main thing.
with the rise and like change of diet trends nowadays, like people want healthy food. I mean, you're serving up a valuable option and something that people don't really get to experience. I mean, a lot of people are gonna, yeah, stick for fast food, but mostly it's all pizza, burgers, and stuff like that. There's not really anything that's like different or from a different culture. And I think that's the best part about traveling too. When you travel, you want to go and experience the food there. If you go to fucking a different country and you get a McDonald's burger, somebody
No,
should
what are you
just slap
doing?
the shit out of you. Yeah.
No. That's, I love traveling, and before even starting the business or the bar, I used to do that a lot, you know, or like I would work throughout college. I would work, and then on the summer breaks, or, you know, I literally would just like go to Mexico. I've done so many like solo trips, most of them being back home, but I would stop in Italy because we're literally a boat ride away. So I would like fly into Italy. I would like spend the day in Italy, and then would just hop on a boat and just head on over to, you know, at that time, or because most of my family is here now, but at my uncle's house or whatever I was staying, but I love just trying food wherever you go. Uh, you don't like it, you don't have to eat it, but at least you tried it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's all about the experience, man. I think that's
Yeah.
one thing society needs to kind of look back on is like replace convenience and bring back experience, man, because that's what's matter. I mean, I'll be more than happy to pay a few extra bucks for something that I can actually truly experience, not something that tastes similar to what I'm buying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it tastes like chicken, but is it chicken? I don't know.
It's so bad. There's this place that I love going to for Mexican food, tacos. Last time we went there, it was like, what is this meat? Like, is this pork? Because we ordered pork tacos and steak tacos. The steak were like okay, but and again, before the pandemic, this was like our favorite spot. Like their food was spot on. But the pork tacos were like, is this chicken? Is this like what is this meat? Like couldn't even figure it out. It
It's
was
like
bad.
my first experience with catering was I used to work at a water park, and we had some really high fancy restaurant in the area come by and cater for the whole water park, all the employees. And I remember, I was going to pick the pizza and the stuff like that. And then I saw a sign that said jerk chicken that I've never had before. And I was like, sure. So I grabbed a small little bit. I bit into it. I was like, this is fucking amazing. And I went back and ate the
Yeah.
whole damn tray. And then next thing I know, people are yelling at me like, you ate all the jerk chicken? I was like, I didn't know what it was, but it was damn good.
Yeah, yeah. Jerk chicken is good if made correctly. It's banging.
Tastes like beef jerky to me.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy on beef jerky. I need that stuff in my life.
I can't have too much. I can't have too much anything salty really because kidney stones. But yeah, I love beef jerky too. I can't say I don't. Who doesn't?
I'm
I
glad
really don't know anybody that doesn't.
I'm glad they put a label in the bag that says don't eat this little square packet, because I was like,
Oh no
it
way.
smells like beef jerky. I don't like that though,
No,
because then it's false, because I'm like, I have one beef jerky left. And then I go and I'm like, no, I don't. It's that
no, I
fucking square
don't.
packet.
Yeah. Well, you need that. You need that. I'm glad. Are you? You seriously just said I'm glad they put "don't eat this" because you would eat it.
Look, if it's in a bag of food and it doesn't say a warning label on it, it's technically part of the
Food.
bag of food. So
All right. Fair enough.
life's all about experience, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Mo. You could
Yeah. I
easily start a
guess.
Moe's Tavern with that name, dude. That's what
Yeah. Right.
that
You know how that came about, right? So the same bar. So when I first started working there, I came from college and I applied to this job, which I don't know how they hired me because I went for the interview and I sit down and talk to the guy and he's like, all right, great, awesome. When can you start? I said, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. So he goes, dude, I need somebody tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, but I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Can I start when I come back? He's like, I guess, yeah. Like he's looking at me like, why are you wasting my time with this interview? If you're going on vacation. Um, Needless to say, come back from vacation and get that job. Man, you're getting me back to memories. Man, I missed that bar. I'm actually off track and I forgot what I was talking about, but damn, I can't believe he actually hired me. Have you ever done that? Like, have you ever just went to an interview and it's like, yeah, but I'll be back in 2 weeks. Hire me then.
I've had an interview, like I usually am pretty good at sticking with the same place, but I've had an interview where I didn't want it at all. And then I actually got it. And I was just like, I was so not into it at all. I was like, sure, I guess. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm a good listener, I guess, sometimes. And then then eventually the guy's like, I think I want to hire you. He's like, why? He goes, because you're not trying too hard. I'm like, I honestly don't want it. And it's like, next thing you know, I ended up working there for 4 years. So it was like, I feel like a lot of times it's really about being genuine. And I feel like if you're a good business owner and you want a business to actually be successful, just hire someone who's genuinely actually wants to do something. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we go back to, you gotta like what you do. Gotta like you. If you don't like what you're doing, then why are you even doing it? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna come into work and be like, oh man, like I gotta deal with this, I gotta deal with that. I'd rather somebody that comes into work and says, yes, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, rather than says, oh man, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's not worth it. You
Yeah.
know, it's your mental health. It's forget about like me and the output there that, you know, I am getting from you. Like, you're not producing as you would produce if you were happy, but think about yourself, like the stress that all day generates in your body, and then you're going to go somewhere, and instead of having a enjoyable conversation with somebody, you're probably going to snap at them because you couldn't snap at your boss. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just,
It's all
you
about
know,
where do you
don't.
want to be in 20 years? Is this something that's for you, or is this just something to make a buck? Honestly, you can be, you could do something that makes you happy and, not make that much money, but I swear you'll be so much richer in happiness from it. I've seen people that, their free time is building furniture from like IKEA. And I'm like, that's a fucking terrible hobby. But they're like, I love it. And I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, okay. But
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
we all got this answer that we need to find. And do you feel like you found yours with the food truck? Do you feel like this is where you want to be?
Yeah, 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 yeah. With food in general, you know, like it's it could be because I'm comfortable and I like what I'm doing, you know. But yeah, I think I have found that, you know, like this is it, you know. Uh,
Looks like you're going to have to be one of the spots I hit up when I come down there.
yeah, like dude, like we said earlier, it's stressful. It's dealing with a lot. It's not just it's so much, you know, but I do it every day because exactly that. Like this is it, you know. Like this is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing, you know.
Nothing that is easy it's never stress free. It's
Yeah, of course.
it's everything that's hard, all these things where people, they give up or something. It's like life's meant to be a pain in the ass, man. It really is. But when you put the time in and you're willing to wake up every single day and go right back to it, you truly have a love for it, and that's what you're meant to be doing. If you're just waking up and you're still complaining about it and going into it, it's like, no, now you don't feel it. But if
Yeah,
you're willing to wipe the slate clean and go right back in on a clear level head and crank out business, that's what you're meant to do.
that's what successful businesses that thrive, you know, because is the environment well, you could compare it to like a 2018 you know, Super Bowl. The Eagles was it 2017 or 18?
I think it was 17.
17, yes, it was. Um, that team wasn't the best team that, you know, was ever built, but the chemistry was so good, you know. So same thing with like a successful business. You have to cultivate a healthy work relationship with everybody, you know. Like, you just have to work well together, you know. uh, you can't be miserable at work. You just can't, you know. And that's the thing, you know. People realize with Bobby and Alex and everybody else in our commissary, like I love that commissary just because these successful people I just mentioned, we get it, you know. We get it that, you know, this is what we do and we help each other out because I can't be at the same location that I would love to be, you know, where it's the best, you know, chance of making more money. I can't be there every day because of other obligations. So why wouldn't I have, you know, Bobby go there or Alex or vice versa? You know, like we share so much info in that commissary amongst each other because of that, you know. Like it I love that commissary, I ain't gonna lie.
It's called Love the Game or Don't Even Play. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, Mo,
yeah.
I appreciate you for doing the podcast, man. Seriously, shout out to Bobby for setting this up. I'm glad, you took the chance to be on too. The factor of like, I know it's a random message, but you
Yeah,
trusted
right.
Bobby, and Bobby's got a good sense of taste, I like to
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But
I love talking, man, especially talking about myself. I could ramble on for days. So
but
no problem.
please promote everything, dude. Promote the Instagram, man. Let's give you a shout out there. Promote where people can find the food truck if they're in the
For
local
sure,
area or
bro.
something.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, promote it, man.
Will do.
This is where you say your links.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Promote yourself.
I thought you meant like post it and oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Just you can reach out to us at byz.empire or at byz.empire on social media. BYZ Empire at Outlook is our email. So if you need to reach out, anybody needs to reach out for any catering needs. Phone number is 267-370-8172. You can reach us out, all of the social media, cell phone, emails. We're usually very, very good at responding and getting back to people. So,
And if
you
you're
know,
in the neighboring area, hit them up. Maybe they'll come and cater your event.
yeah, we actually we travel everywhere. Like we did a wedding not too long ago in Jersey, so we're licensed in a bunch of counties, including Jersey as well. So we're good,
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode Out of the Blank podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode.